Hey guys, I just wanted to apologize for the watermarks again. I know most of you said you don't really mind, but it just annoys me so much because it used to be such a good program, and then they watermarked my version. They want me to pay $50 a month now, and I just can't justify that. Like, maybe I will pay for it because I love it. Like, if I actually make more than $100 a month off the channel, then it might be worth paying $50 a month for this program. So I hope the watermarks don't bother you guys too as much as it bothers me anyway. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching and enjoy the video. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Signs and Wonders. I'm Nick, and this is your End Times news report for the first week of June 2020. Before I begin, I would like to say a quick thank you, as always, to my Patreons and to those of you who have helped support this channel. Thank you guys so much. Oh, and also, YouTube finally gave me a merchandise shelf, so if you guys do like the channel and you want to help support it in some way, check out the Teespring merchandise below. There's only a couple items so far, but I'm working on more. I think maybe a coffee cup I'll try and design next, so I'm not very good at thinking of stuff like that. If you guys have any ideas of what would be a good thing to design, like a pillow or whatever, just let me know in the comments. It would really help. Thanks. Oh yeah, and also I'm giving 10% of all the proceeds from the merchandise to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. Okay, let's jump into it, shall we, fine people? Plagues and famine. Vast locust swarms in East Africa are putting almost 5 million people at risk of hunger and famine, experts are warning around the world. Vast local swarms in East Africa could put almost 5 million people in the region at risk of hunger and famine, like I just said, according to the International Rescue Committee. A fourth generation of desert locusts, up to 8,000 times larger than previous swarms, could destroy crops at the start of the hungry season and leave millions facing food insecurity and famine. This is the most serious desert locust outbreak seen in East Africa in over 70 years, and compounded by the COVID-19 pandemic, it poses an unprecedented risk to the region. Huge locust swarms have recently hit East Africa, India, and Pakistan, exacerbating the problems caused by coronavirus. Climate change has been partly to blame for the outbreak. And of course, right guys, it's always climate change or something to blame for this. Anything other than God or the Bible. And not only Africa is this happening to, but it's starting to happen all over the world. Another headline reads, huge locust swarms hit India, East Africa amid coronavirus pandemic. As the world attempts to contain the coronavirus pandemic, India, Pakistan, and a number of countries in East Africa are also battling invasions of desert locusts. The Times of India reports that vast swarms of desert locusts have attacked crops in several Indian states, posing a major threat to food supplies. The swarms cover more than 50,000 hectares of western India, according to the BBC. Neighboring Pakistan declared a national emergency as a result of the locust swarms earlier this year. Spring breeding continues in southern Iran and southwest Pakistan, where control operations are in progress against hopper groups and bands, as well as an increasing number of adult groups, explains the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. A new larger generation of locusts, numbering in the billions, is also on the move in East Africa, where some countries haven't seen such an outbreak in 70 years. Climate change has been partly blamed for the outbreak. Again. The current situation remains extremely alarming in East Africa, where Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia continue to face an unprecedented threat to food security and livelihoods, explains the FAO of the United Nations. New swarms from current breeding will form from mid-June onwards, coinciding with the start of the harvest. The desert locust is the world's most dangerous migratory pest, said Mary Sholey, a senior director for the economic recovery for the IRC. A 1 square kilometer locust swarm is capable of consuming the same amount of food in one day as approximately 35,000 people. Without an immediate increase of prevention measures, we could be on the verge of a famine like we have never seen before, she added. Wars and rumors of wars. Russia can now use nukes if attacked with non-nuclear weapons. Russian President Vladimir Putin endorsed a policy on Tuesday that would allow the country to use nuclear weapons in response to a non-nuclear attack on it or its allies. Oh wow, that's great. The nuclear deterrent policy allows Russia to use nuclear weapons in the response to aggression involving conventional weapons that threatens the very existence of the state. It's called nuclear deterrent policy. That's quite ironic, isn't it, guys? It also reaffirms the nation's right to respond with nuclear weapons if attacked with one. Additionally, Russia could use its nuclear arsenal if it gets reliable information that it or an ally is the target of a ballistic missile attack. The policy also allows Russia to use nuclear weapons in the case of enemy impact on critically important government or military facilities of the Russian Federation, the incapacitation of which could result in the failure of retaliatory action of nuclear forces. Policy appears to act as a deterrent to the United States if it ever decides to attack the country, a weapons manufacturer, or a military site, according to the AP. Tensions between the United States and Russia have risen in the recent years, with Putin threatening in August to build more nuclear weapons if it has information that the United States has begun to do the same. If Russia obtains reliable information that the United States has finished developing these systems and started to produce them, Russia will have no option other than to engage in a full-scale effort to develop similar missiles, Putin said. Riots and civil unrest. Mayor Jacob Frey is seeking federal aid to help Minneapolis recover from the protests and riots that have wrecked the area. With at least $55 million in estimated damage and far more to come, Minneapolis will need state and federal aid as it attempts to rebuild hundreds of structures after the riots following George Floyd's death. City officials are still putting together a complete tally of the destruction and caution that estimates are likely to rise significantly. Governor Tim Walz and members of Minnesota's congressional delegation are trying to get government assistance to offset that cost. But in the past, neither the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, nor Congress has consistently sent federal funding to cities ravaged by riots. We're going to see more and more of this, guys, and we have, and it will only get worse until it gets better, but we should be prepared for this, you know? We were all warned about this about 2,000 years ago. Iran, Russia, China, and Turkey celebrate collapse of U.S., states a headline. You know, it's really sad how some human beings are in this world, isn't it, guys? The goal of these countries during the current U.S. crisis is to use it to their advantage to achieve gains. Authoritarian regimes throughout the world are pushing narratives that appear to gloat over and celebrate that chaos that's unfolding in the United States. On Monday, Iran's media pushed stories that highlighted the collapse, while quoting Russian sources portraying that the U.S. is flailing about as its world order comes crashing down. The U.S. became the world's most powerful country, a global hegemonic superpower, after the Soviet Union and its client states fell apart in 1989. However, Russia, China, Iran, and increasingly Turkey have all awaited the period when the world would become multipolar again. They have sought to work more closely together, and they have sat frequently at global forums that the US does not attend. To coordinate efforts against the US, these countries all have state media that is well funded, such as RT, TRT, Iran, SNM, and Fars News, and numerous Chinese media outlets. The policies of these countries are to slowly undermine the US and wait for moments of US weakness to push their agendas. Iran's former president made similar comments about the declining US order. This is a reference to the concept of the axis of resistance in Iran and the defeat of US arrogance. Ever since the Islamic Revolution in Iran of 1979, there'd been a call for a third way between the US and Soviet Union in the 1980s that would bring about the defeat of Western systems and the rise of political Islam rooted in Tehran and then in Ankara. Now the protests in the US and the COVID-19 crisis have made Washington appear to be declining rapidly. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that the U.S. was now having to deal with its police misconduct and said that the U.S. compared unfavorably with Russia. Thank God things that happen in America do not happen in Russia, he said, according to Russia's TASS media. Isn't that nice? Well, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Much love to all of you guys and your families. Stay safe. I am trying to get my live shows going again. I've just been a little busy lately, but I hope to be live streaming within a few days. So, if you guys are new here, please do subscribe. This is the best channel on YouTube, hands down. And yeah, God bless you all and your families, and we'll see you guys next time.